And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. If you can do me a big favor, please make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube, like, share, comment, push this out so that the world can see these great guests that I talk to and interview, and what Robert Watson and I do. We're going to change the name of that one, but we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it's just a way to get out there and get success out there, to show people what it looks like, show people that the path is different for every single person. My next guest is a friend of mine. His name is Matt Cavanaugh, also known as the Toxic Pirate, the Cupcake Dude, the Great Meep. We've got a bunch of different names for Matt, but you know, one of the things that inspires me about Matt is the things that he goes through. You know, the guy's got lupus, he's had a stroke, he's had heart issues, microvascular white matter disease. We're going to break all this down and just kind of figure out how he continues to be positive and move forward. Oh, and by the way, go check out my videos on the barbecue sauce, because he also makes some pretty damn good barbecue sauce. Matt, what's happening?
Not much, buddy. How are you today?
Very, very good. You know, it's good to have you on here. We've followed each other on TikTok for quite a while. I think I was talking
years.
Yeah, I was talking to you the other day. I met you in one of Shane Lakita's lives. Shane's a friend of mine that was been on my podcast, and he does. It goes by Liquid Shano, and he does. Used to be Coffee Talk with Liquid Shano, and now it's That's Live podcast. So like he does a couple different things, but yeah, I mean, you were in there. I saw you positively commenting on a bunch of his stuff, and I followed you, and then you had a character. You do a lot of characters. You and I, our content's kind of similar. Like there's a bunch of, we just throw it out there, so there's no category that you could really be in. But you had, I think it was on the Cupcake account, right? You had one video with Steve that just got this huge amount of views, and then it kind of blew up.
2.8 million views and something like 1.9 million likes on one video. So yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
It's pretty insane to think about like what that does to someone too. Like I don't think people really understand. I haven't had any that had that many views on it, but I did have one at one point that had, I think, over 1 million, and it's a blessing and a curse, and it depends on how you take it.
100%. I actually lost friends because of that video.
Right.
So some of them got jealous, and other people thought I was going to become hoity-toity and this big content creator, and I remained me, but they didn't have faith that I was going to stay that way, and they're like, I'm out. So yeah, it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, that's the sad thing.
A blessing and a curse.
Yeah, people don't understand that like getting that many views can do a couple things to you. And I did a video this morning, I was talking about it because I kind of took like this hiatus with my commenting and my posting or my liking and stuff like that. And I just went to just posting because I just got so overwhelmed with the fact that I can't respond to everyone. And when you have that many followers popping in and they're all looking for you to do something, then they get pissed when you don't. It's a crazy thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's a little bit of OCD, isn't it? Where you gotta, at least gotta say, yes, I saw your comment. So here's a heart, here's a heart, here's a heart, here's a heart. And when you get a video that goes viral like that, it's like, dude, over 500,000 comments. It was so hard to keep up. You know, heart. Yes, That was funny. Thank you. Heart. It was a pain.
Yeah.
It was honestly, to be honest with you, my girlfriend's heard me say this is one of the worst things that ever happened to me on TikTok.
Well, it led to a bunch of other things too, right? Like your account got banned a couple times, and then people started to, you know, that's the other thing people don't see too. When your account gets banned because people start commenting on stuff, and then you try to kind of respond or defend yourself or whatever, all these things happen, and it can ruin it pretty easily.
I still hold the record at 188 bans on a single account. 4 of them were permanent, and I got out of them. I got help from a lawyer, and I always got out of them. I finally lost my account at 188, and my lawyer said, we can get it back. And I was like, why? I'll just start over. It's fun starting from the beginning sometimes and reinventing yourself.
Well, I think one of the things that you and I have had great conversations about is the fact that even though you have that many followers, you know, I have 25K on my account. I've never been banned or anything like that. But you only get a certain amount of interaction anyway. A lot of times people will just
Yep.
follow you because that was super funny, and then they'll never comment again. They'll never see you again, and they just forget you're there.
That's why I change up my stuff so often. I say my account is ADHD. I have a little bit of something for everybody.
Yep.
I have positive stuff. I have stuff that makes you think. I put out stuff that shows my personal emotion at that moment, and sometimes it's a little sad. I try to put out something where everybody can make a connection
Yeah.
because I want the world to know that I'm just a regular guy like everybody else.
And that's why I started this podcast. And I know that at first, like, I know our friend Nikki had to talk you into doing it, because you weren't certain that you belonged on here. But I have to tell you, the thing is with most people in this world is that they all belong on here. They all have been through something. And what shaping success to me is like showing people that no matter what, you can keep moving forward. And that's what you do. I think one of the first things that I ever noticed, besides the funny content and eating the cupcakes and things like that, was that you were talking about your lupus and how you have lupus, but you also have a bunch of other health issues. And we talked about like what you could do with these health issues. You could sit here and you could just stew in them and be upset and bask in them and just, have a pity party, but you choose not to do that. So how do you do that?
How deep do you want to dive into the medical issues? I don't want to make this a poor me episode, but for me, the mindset started about 4 years ago. When I first got diagnosed with microvascular white matter disease. For a person of my age, usually it advances very rapidly. For me, it's been slow. I've been extremely lucky. And when they looked at the amount of damage that was already done, the doctor at that time said, "You got 2 years max. That's it. That's what you have." And like I said, that was 3.5, 4 years ago. And it immediately started changing my mindset. Like I had 3 days of being sad and depression. I'm like, I'm going away. This sucks. And then I started thinking about it. It's like, no, I'm not going to do this. If I got X amount of time, I'm going to refocus and I'm going to enjoy every moment I can. And since then, I've lived past my due date, but I still maintain that mindset. And I've had this conversation with people before. You could fall in the shower. You could get in a car accident. A rogue rhinoceros can escape from the zoo and take you out. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but it could.
Yeah.
In infinitesimal possibilities, anything could take you out. So why not live every day like it's your last?
Yep. Yeah, and it's crazy though. The microvascular white matter disease is something that you and I have talked about a little bit, and I took a kind of just a little dive into it this morning. But the reality is what happens, and I love seeing your videos on people who are like, "You don't even remember me." Well, the reality is you really don't remember them, so you have to stay in there.
It's gone.
Yeah, so it affects
the best way I can explain it. Yeah, it affects your blood vessels in your brain, and they solidify, and they can't push blood through. And without that oxygen going to that part of the brain, it just dies.
Yep.
And your brain doesn't have nerves or anything, so you don't know it. You don't know you've lost something until you come across it. One time I came downstairs from the bedroom, and there's this thing sitting on my counter. I had no idea what it was. I had to look it up. Turns out it's a blender. And how amazing this instrument was to me, because I can make drinks with it. I can make smoothies. You can do soups. Katie comes out and she says, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "This thing is absolutely amazing." And she started crying because she knew I had the white matter disease. And I'm like, "Why are you sad?" I'm like, "This is awesome. I get to learn stuff all over again." She's like, "One day you're going to forget me." I said, "That's okay. Then I get to relearn you all over again."
Yeah. It's kind of like 50 first dates.
Yeah. And I said, imagine the day when I rediscover making love. How awesome is that day going to be?
For you.
Right? I'll be like a virgin again. That's going to be awesome. No, but that's the mindset we got to take. We get so caught up in the mundane, and it really is mundane. This is life we live every single day. Everybody's got bills. Everybody's got problems with significant others or their kids, and things aren't working out. And I hate the government and this and that. But have you stopped and looked at a lily,
Yeah.
or an orchid that's been backlit at night, so it looks like it's glowing? That's a beautiful thing. I've done that. Or just stop and look at the stars and the infinitesimal possibilities of life out there. There is beauty all around you in everything, and so many people miss that.
Yeah.
And I almost missed it. It took somebody saying, "Hey, you're going away permanently," and it's like, I better take in everything I can. And that's the message that I've been trying to share with people. It's like, you need to wake up,
Yeah.
because it can happen to you tomorrow. And what do you leave behind? What's your legacy?
Yeah. And I think that that's the big thing that a lot of people get lost in. Like it's all bigger than what you think it is, but it's also a lot smaller than what you think it is. The fact of the matter
Oh,
is
yeah.
that you could get lost in politics. Like I listen to my dad who gets lost in it all the time, and like the world is so bad because of this, and this, and then these things happen, and you let it affect you. And I've always tried to go micro on it. I've always tried to say like, how does this affect me in my nuclear family? How does this affect me, my 2 kids, and my wife? How does this affect what's going on with me? Not what's going on with everyone else. You have to start there. And then you can kind of branch out. But if you're allowing the political things that are going on to ruin your life, if you're allowing, I don't know, like a loss in sports to own you, that's why I love baseball, because it's like
Right,
so
right.
quick. You go up there, you strike out, you turn around, you go back in the dugout, you're going to be back out there in probably another 20 minutes doing the same damn thing, and you're going to have to reinvent it, or you're going to
Mhm.
strike out again. What can you do to make your life better? And it's not worrying about all the bullshit around you. It's worrying about the things that are right in front of you.
Absolutely. What pitch is going to be thrown at you next, to keep going with your baseball analogy?
Yeah, 100%. It's like that you could break it down that way. That's what I love about baseball. It's like, okay, I'm 0-1. Now what? What's next? What's this guy going to come with? What can I do to change that? It's crazy.
I, I think for most people, they have the same common problem I do. At least this is my thoughts. We can handle the big things thrown at us. That's the way we're brought up. That's the way we're trained. Be ready for the big things.
Yep.
Your car breaks down. The roof flies off your house. You know what you're supposed to do, right?
Hmm.
But when the little things start adding up, and it's one after the other, and it happens to everybody constantly,
Yeah.
at some point you break. And I think the definition of a human being is how you handle that moment in life.
Right. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you talked about like being diagnosed with the white matter disease, was the fact that you thought about it for a couple days. Like you stewed on it for a minute, and then you decided that it wasn't going to be something that was going to stop you. And I think that that's what a lot of
Right.
people don't understand, is that you can stand in, my friend Brad Dalton called it pity city. Like you can sit in pity city for a little bit, but don't take an extended
hmm
stay, because the longer you stay there, the more apt you are to accomplish nothing, because you're afraid of what will happen if you try again.
I almost think you have to sit there for a moment.
Hmm.
I think that's important. So you can't appreciate the good things in life until you discover the bad ones.
Yeah.
You
It's a
know,
it's a reflective thing, I think. And I was sitting here the other
yeah.
day. I've thought about myself a long time. Like I have a story to share. I'm trying to figure out how to share it. I can't figure it out. And then I was driving to an appointment that was 2 hours away the other day, and I got this thought in my mind that I'm just gonna get on my phone. I'm gonna open the Google Docs app, and I'm just gonna dictate the whole time there on my way there. And I wrote like 7 chapters of fucking book on my life, because now I made it simple. And then I stuck it in Chat GPT. I asked it to edit it. I got 7 chapters. And I was reflecting on all the things that happened in my life, because I've been through a lot of things. And it's one of those things where I was reflecting on every single thing that I went through. And this taught me this lesson, and this taught me that lesson. And this didn't happen to me the way that I wanted it to. But guess what? It propelled me into the next moment in my life. And I think that that's what people have to figure out, is something negative is going to happen. But how are you going to
hmm
use that as a lesson and learn how to fix it, how to reinvent the wheel, kind of?
Some of the best lessons we learned as children.
Mm.
You learn not to play with fire,
Yep.
not to touch a hot stove. And we learned them on our own. And we stop doing that as adults. We stop learning things, and then we'll focus,
Yeah.
and we got to stop focusing on negative.
Yeah.
Um, I've told other people many, many times, if you look for the bad in life, that's what you're going to find. It
Mhm.
is that simple. So start looking for the good. Break
It,
the habit.
it's the people that you spend time with too. Like I think a lot of people say, well, this is my best friend. But what is your best friend doing for you? Like not what are they doing for you? Like are they giving you money? Are they giving you a ride? Are they doing for you? Like how
Right.
are they making you feel about yourself? And if you go to your friend with an idea and they tell you, no, that's the dumbest thing ever, instead of like listening and saying, well, what if you did this or what if you did that? Like being someone who, doesn't tell you you're stupid, but says, hey, think about this, think about that instead, like helping you, being supportive in a way instead of just telling you you're dumb, don't ever do that.
It's interesting that you say that because my best friend does exactly that. That's his mentality.
Hmm.
Immediately he will pop up, I'm stupid, or something along those lines.
Right.
That's just him. He doesn't. But on the other hand, his jokes are very funny. He will always make you laugh. Like he has a way of calling you stupid and make you laugh at yourself. And I love people like that.
Well, that's the thing, but the thing is like, he may say that you're stupid, but that doesn't mean for you personally that's, oh, I'm done. Hey, your barbecue sauce idea is stupid, right? Did you stop making barbecue sauce?
Right?
Nope.
No, that's like a lot of the people that gave me a hard time about TikTok. I got no support from my family.
Right.
None. Not one person believed in me. And when I started showing them the amount of people that were following me and that I made a couple of bucks here and there, you don't get rich on TikTok, just
No.
so people know. But you can make legitimately a couple of bucks here and there.
Yep.
And I still got no support from family. And even when I was at my peak and had the most followers I ever had, and I brought in one check, I 1 month I brought in $500.
Hmm.
I had a really, really good month. And I was showing it to my friends and family, like, look, I'm making it. I'm doing something. Even then, my family was like, whatever, it's TikTok.
Yeah.
Is and that's when Katie got me the map, as you can see behind me.
Yes. The map is
Um,
super cool. We'll talk about that. I mean, people, one of the things that you started doing, and you did this on, I don't know if it's on Cupcake or the Meep account, but you started doing this where you have people who are watching you and you look at the countries that they're in. So if you're in a country, make sure that you comment
yeah.
on one of Toxic Pirates posts and let them know what country you're for, because there's a
Yep.
whole bunch of different things or different countries that he doesn't have yet. But he's scratching it off. I need to get one of these too, because I have like the podcast download
It,
episodes. They're all over the place. It's like, where's this one from?
get one. Get one for the country and get one for the United States. Get two maps. That's my suggestion.
Yeah. But it'll show you like these people who, they're commenting on a post and you're like, hey, I'm from Idaho. And you scratch off Idaho. You're like, this is freaking awesome. We got
Yep.
someone here. You could do one for your state probably. I'm guessing it's like, hey, I got one from each city in the state. It's a cool thing to kind
Yeah.
of track where people
Literally.
are at.
Literally. It was so much fun, and I'm probably gonna get a new map and do it again now that I have a new account.
Yep. Yeah, and that's one of the things that, we talked about that too, like switching the accounts, getting them banned, things like that. The amount of people that you had following on your other account, like it's tough to let that go. But talk about like the interaction that you get on your new account versus your old account. Like, is it more meaningful? Are the people who have always been there always there? What's that mean to you?
It's kind of a 50-50. Half of the people are people that have been following me for absolutely forever, and the other half are all new people. And I pretty much get the same responses from people because my content really hasn't changed because I don't change.
Hmm.
I may put out these different personas like Steve and I'm at a Pope and the Great Meep and Cupcake and basically schizophrenia personified. And the multiple personalities I do are all a part of me.
Yep.
So if you put them all together, you might get a clear picture on who I really am.
Hmm.
because we all put on masks, we all put on shows. When we're doing stuff like this, we want to project our best selves.
Right.
That's what we want people to see. And I try not to do that. I try to just be me, but in little sections.
Mm-hmm. Now, before TikTok, were you on any other social media? I mean, TikTok's a little different thing.
Oh, I'm on all of them.
Okay. It's a weird thing, though, right? Because I feel like myself, personally, I can be more myself on TikTok than I can any other app. Like, I feel like you can't do what you do on TikTok on Instagram, me personally. And I think a lot of people feel that way, too, because, like, if the people that I work with found me on TikTok, they'd be like, oh, my gosh, this guy's nuts. Why is this guy doing this? Why is he saying all these things that they say? Where it's a little more curated on like Instagram and Facebook.
Well, let me ask you why. Is it because of the rules, or is it because of the social standards that they have on those particular platforms? I mean, I grow fastest on TikTok. I'm on all the platforms, all of them.
Yeah.
And I grow fastest on TikTok. I have the biggest following on TikTok. Is it just the social standards for each one?
I think for me, yeah, kind of. I think that, you know, like there's this persona. It's funny. I got to jump on the other day. I like Will Clark, baseball player, and Eric Burns. They have this podcast called Deuces Wild, and it's on every Tuesday night. And I went on there and this is a weird thing for me because like I jumped on there and I listen to these guys talk all the time, and I have a foul mouth. Like I'm very good at like stopping it from happening right now. And like I was a teacher, so when I'm teaching, I'm like I keep it under wraps, right? And so I hop on No Filter Network. I'm like, oh, I got this opportunity. My son fell asleep on the couch. They have this button you click and you knock, and then you can get in. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to you. I've been listening to these guys for months. I watched Will Clark as a kid, watched Eric Burns play baseball. I'm knocking and I'm going to talk to these guys. And the first thing out of my mouth was like, fucking finally. And then next thing you know, it was like a tirade of F-bombs, but they do the same thing. So I felt like I was in the same audience, you know?
Right.
And it was no big deal. I was comfortable doing it. I was comfortable talking that way. And then my friends see it and they're like, oh my gosh, Real Wes came out, or like, this is the real you. And the problem that I have is like with my podcast, it's so one way that I feel like if I start talking the way that I normally do, it'll alienate part of my audience and then they won't be there. You know, and I think it's more of a mental thing than what will actually happen, but it's the way that I think about it. And so TikTok's kind of that way too. I post all the clips from my podcast on TikTok and I post them all on Instagram, but I don't post what I post on TikTok on the other platforms because I feel like there's a different audience there and they're more accepting maybe. And it might be a mental thing.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It almost sounds like a fun social experiment, honestly.
Yeah.
To go on, let's go on Wes's channel and drop a couple of F-bombs and see who starts following and who leaves. The real question is, the followers that know you, are they going to leave? Yeah. Because they're the ones that know you. They're the one that socialize with you even on a minimal scale. So those are the people I look for. Those are real followers. You know, they become friends and family after a period of time, kind of like us, you know.
Yeah.
We've talked about that too. Mm-hmm. Do you want that 1 million follower mark? Do you want to be rich and famous? Or do you want the 10 followers who are always going to be there no matter what?
Yeah. And
I think when you're at a low point, it's them 10 followers that are going to pick you up. Even when you have your 1 million, this is what I found out. Yeah. If you have your 1 million followers, there's still only 10 that are going to be there to pick you up. So really what's important in life, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I think one of the other things too is like I'm not like in a corporate world, but like I represent a business, right? And so if I represent this business, what are they going to say if I said, you know, if I drop the F-bomb on a social media post that has nothing to do with them, but it's me representing them? Because that's kind of the world we live in, where you can get fired for saying something that you know on social media is like, we don't want this representation of you out there. Someone could see this, you know, and the reality is not that very many people see it, but there's still someone who can see it. So like saying this in front of a realtor that I work with, or saying this in front of a builder that I could potentially work with and all that stuff, it just depends. You know, it's like our political views, right? If you tell someone that you're a Trump lover, what's going to happen, or if you tell someone you're a Biden lover, like there's going to be 50% of the country who hates you and 50% of the country who hates you, like, or they're going to drop you or they're not going to be friends with you. And I think like when we drop that, because I try to be right down the middle, but if you're smart, you're going to figure out which way I lean, but I don't disapprove of one way or the other. I just feel like we have to be more open-minded. And I think you've talked about this as well too. It's like, we have to be willing to see both sides. It doesn't matter if we disagree with you. We have to see both sides. And I think that that's where we're lost as a country is you think this way, I think this way, we can't talk. That's bullshit.
Honestly, that used to be one of the biggest things I loved doing on the Cupcake account was I would love going into the opposite side
Mm-hmm.
without saying my political views because it's your show. I used to love going to the opposite side and proving them wrong in thinking that our side does not communicate.
Yeah.
And I would go in there and I would open communications and I would be respectful
Mm-hmm.
and I would take the name calling and I would take the badgering and the cyberbullying and be like, look, you can do all that or we can talk.
Yeah.
And we can show that we have common ground. And I got so many followers that way. It was ridiculous. Just people are like, you really feel that way? It's like, yeah, most people on my side do. No, they
Yeah.
don't. That's not what the media says. That's the key. Don't follow media. Talk to your opponent. You might be surprised.
That's the thing. It's like it is so the media is so one-sided, whatever side it is on, that it doesn't even really
Yep.
you really don't see. Like I feel like, we can sit here and we can look at the vote, right? 50-50 is basically what it was. It was pretty close to, obviously there's a majority of people picked one over the other, but it was really split, right? So what that tells
Yeah.
you is the country is really split. But you only see the radical people on both sides. You don't see the
Right?
middle. It's crazy.
Well, the middle doesn't get media. That's the thing. It's not exciting.
Yeah.
We are so controlled by social media that we become addicted to what we watch.
Yep.
You end up doom scrolling on TikTok for new content because we need that dopamine hit so bad. And then so media has learned this and they're like, we're only going to show the highlights. We're going to show the best of the best and the worst of the worst, and that's it.
Yep.
And that's what we become accustomed to. That's what we want. We want that next dopamine hit because we need to either love somebody or hate somebody. There is no in between.
I think that's the
Man,
biggest thing
there's
that's
so much in between.
there is. And that's what's disappointing about social media typically is the fact that people like you, people like me, people like Pops of Five, people like all these people who just are talking about what's going on in their life. Those are the people that really matter because at the end of the day, me being pissed off about who's president isn't going to change who's president, isn't going to change who's governor,
No.
isn't going to change your employer. You have to deal with what's in front of you. And I'm not saying don't think politically because you should know how you feel, but don't put as much weight on it because, and that's with anything in life, politics, whatever you're struggling with, you put that so much into that basket. And at the end, it doesn't really help you.
Oh, and you could easily do 5-6 shows on just politics
Oh,
alone,
yeah.
especially if you're a middle of the road person,
Yeah.
because you see both sides. That's why I love middle of the road. I've talked to so many people. I've watched so many different podcasts, and that I see both sides. And honestly, there's good on both sides.
There is.
There's bad on both sides. There's good on both sides, and I love the good that both sides are doing. So sometimes it's really hard as a middle of the road person to make that decision.
Well, you try to find those people because like that's the thing. Like we see, I don't know, John Kennedy is one of them, right? You see everything that he says. You see what the Speaker
Yeah.
of the House says. You see what Chuck Schumer says. They all have their little representatives, AOC. Like you see what they say, but what about all the other ones that are not saying anything?
Yep.
Where are they at? Why don't we see that?
You don't see what they're saying, but you can still see what they're doing. And this is something I suggest to everybody, and not to get too political. I don't want to do that, but you can actually go online and go to your government and look at how they're voting.
Mm-hmm.
So the people you think are voting in your favor probably aren't,
Yep.
and you might want to double check your representatives. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It is what it is. But I think we talking about it is more about the fact that we have the opportunity to let other things influence us, not the
Right.
shitty media, not the government, not that. We have so many things going on for us that is really good. And I want to start talking a little bit more about like you and like the barbecue sauce, because yesterday I made my barbecue sauce. I made a put together. I'm not very good at like editing videos and this and that, and I put it together just to kind of show you guys what it was like tasting the sauce, getting the sauce, using it. I mean, it was awesome. So I know that you have kind of been in the food service a little bit. Tell us a little bit what like got you into cooking and things like that, and why you ultimately
My
started
dad.
making your dad.
Just
Okay.
point blank, my dad, and that in itself is an interesting story. He started out as a busboy and ended up becoming one of the top chefs in a 5-star restaurant down in Chicago. And the reason why he did it was to put himself through college to become a mechanic. And to me, that seems so backwards,
Yeah.
you know. But he loved working on cars when he was younger, and that's what he loved to do. And it was a booming industry back then.
Yep.
And so he did quite well, but he also made it to the chef status on his own with no education and no school behind him, because he paid attention to the cooks around him
Mm-hmm.
and he learned from them. And so he would always come home and make these weird meals and something new and start creating stuff on his own. And my dad, even though I couldn't stand him, was one of the best cooks I've ever met in my entire life. And when you cook for somebody who is a self-made head chef,
Uh-huh.
you better be good.
Bring it.
I didn't have a choice. I had to be good,
Yeah.
because there's nothing like the disappointment of a father when he bites into one of your steaks and it's like, it's edible.
It's edible.
It's like, really?
That's
Is it that bad? I've had shoes better than this.
Oh my
It hits a little different when your dad's judging. Your friends will smile and be like, it's all right. But when your dad's judging you. So didn't really have a choice growing up. I had to become a good cook. And then you got my mother, 100% German, and she is just as picky. And she made home cooked meals like your pot roast and spaghettis and all that. And I had to get good at that. I didn't have a choice. And then the food became a love language.
Yep.
And
It's weird.
when you put out your video,
Uh-huh.
I want to mention that when you put out your video, there's a couple of moments that I look for in everybody's videos is when they get that first taste and that eyebrow goes up and it's like, oh, this son of a bitch can cook.
Yeah.
And then you had it on your ribs, and that hit, that smile, that meant the world to me more than anything else. And then I saw the kids. I was not expecting that. That was a bonus. Dude, you made my heart soar when I got to see those kids smiling and munching on them ribs like that. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm looking for. And that's why I do what I do.
What's funny about the kids was that I told my daughter she's 12. She just turned 12, and she's always she's been on the podcast, but she's always like, can I be on the podcast? Can I start my own podcast? Can I do this? Can I be famous? Blah, 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 blah is what she said. And I took the camera and I just turned it on. I said, what do you think, Tatum? And she said what she said. And I was just like, oh, there's your chance. And then I turned it over to Nolan and I'm like, what do you think? And I can't remember what he said, but it was just so cute the way that both of them did it. But then my daughter's like, I want to do it again because I want to say something that's going to make me famous. And I'm like, nope, you had your chance. And my wife, she's hiding behind the flowers.
But you said she enjoyed it. And
She
it's
did.
those facial expressions, those little moments. That's why I do what I do.
Yep.
I don't make any money on my barbecue sauce, and I don't want to.
We've been talking about the barbecue sauce for a while, and I finally got some. But you and I, like, we go back and forth, and And it's like, when I do my stuff, it's like it's nothing's ever the same, and I'm sure it's kind of with you too. Like you may have a base of what you're doing, but you're in there adding to taste and things like that. And normally, like I take the base that I have, which is we talked about Sweet Baby Ray's, and then I just start adding stuff. I got some bourbon in there. I got some seasoning that I used on the ribs. I've got whatever, and I'm throwing it in there. Some lemon, like I'm always trying to make something that's a little bit different. And it's never the same, but I get the same feeling that you do. I barbecue a lot, and my wife's family's over here the most. And typically when I barbecue, it's like I don't eat a whole lot of it. I eat, my share, but they're just in there just mowing it down. And the idea is like, oh, I love seeing them eat it and enjoy it, and
that feeling, dude.
Yeah, and hearing them talk about
that
it.
intense feel. Yeah, that intense feeling. It's a dopamine hit.
Yep.
It's almost like being rich and famous. It's like getting that million view thing on TikTok, but you're getting it from a single person. It really is a love language. It's serotonin, it's dopamine, it's everything you could possibly want in one single second of a facial expression. And if you blink, you miss it.
Yep.
That's what I love. I love that. That is my favorite thing in the whole world. And when I got to see you and your family, dude, skyrocket. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Yeah. Well, we got to get, like, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, how can we make this so that you could make some money off this? I swear, I know you don't want to, but like, how cool would it be to like have, hey, this is the seasonal hit. This is what you get this time for this. And then you can just put it, like you said, you do take tips, you put the tips into the next batch. To me, it's like,
yep.
Lots of people smiling. That's all there is to it. Like a limited amount. We thought about that. Like I do this live on Instagram every Wednesday called One Drink Wednesday. Well, it's like, here it is over here. We got these coasters, right? This is the original coaster. We still have a whole bunch of them, but when they're gone, we're going to make another one. To me, it's like, that's the cat's meow. It's like, all right, here's a limited amount of what this is. And if you get in on it, you get in on it. And if you don't, you don't. And you got to go to the next batch,
There are two people in this world that I have given my recipe to. One is my granddaughter, and the other one is no longer with us. They passed away. And I will tell you the same thing I tell absolutely everybody. Investigate what it takes to bring a food item to market.
Yeah.
And if you're still interested, I will give you my recipe 100% free, and you can get rich off of it. I have no need to. I have everything in the world that I want.
And I will tell you this. I know from experience. I interviewed a guy, I think it's Josh Oliver is his name. And he started this, I'll have to make sure that's his name, James Oliver. And he created these things called an Atlas bar. And it started out, and it's a protein bar that he made. He went over to China or Japan, I can't remember, but he was afraid that he wasn't going to like the food. So he sat down in his kitchen with his mom and made this recipe for these Atlas bars, the original recipe. And he goes through and he made enough to keep him like for 3 months if he ate this 1 or 2 times a day so that he could have something that he actually liked that was made out of what he wanted it to. And it only had a few ingredients. But when you take it to, because now it's a big thing, like they sell them, when you take it to have them made, just like you said, they start to change things. They put different things in them.
Yep.
They make it so it's like, they have to put something in it to preserve it, or they have to do something to make it taste a certain way or whatever. They change your recipe, and it's never what you started out as.
If we get rid of the vanilla bean from Madagascar and we buy it from southern India, you can save 55 cents a gram, which in the end, at the end of the year, will save you $25,000.
Yep.
Yeah, but that vanilla bean from Madagascar that's why I use it. It tastes better. Yeah, but you can save this money. So let's do that instead. Yep. That's what happens when you go corporate.
Yep. Well, if that's what's going to happen, I don't necessarily know that I ever want it. I'd rather have the original recipe and get what is actually made. So.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what's next for you. You got a lot going on. The white matter disease could take care of you anytime. You just are recovering from a stroke. What are you going to do? You've got to have some sort of goal, some sort of thing that's going to keep you. I mean, you probably wake up every morning saying, hey, I'm here, but what else is there? What keeps you going?
I think the real question is, what am I not going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I have done so many things that I've never talked about or posted. I've swam in oceans. I've literally crossed seas. I've been to other countries. I've climbed mountains. Um, Wyoming, Devil's Tower, amazing place. Climbed it, absolutely gorgeous, one of a kind place. And if you go there, watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind. When you're actually there, it'll freak you out. It's really cool. And I don't really post or talk about my personal adventures, but I will say there is no holds barred. I don't know what's next, but I'm gonna do it. Whatever it ends up being, I'm going to do it.
Well, it's pretty crazy. You know, I'm gonna share one last thing here that kind of made me think that you know, and this was about a year ago, and you probably don't remember it. You may or may not. But we were sitting at home, and my wife, she's a nurse, and so she goes to work at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and she usually doesn't get back until about 8
Hmm.
o'clock at night. So on those days, it's my job to pick up the kids and feed them, and you know, get them ready for bed and do all those things. And um, one night I was sitting there, and it was dinner time, and I was watching you on a live with my friend Nikki and a couple other people, and you were talking to me kind of and asking me what I was doing, and I was telling you what was going on, and I was literally sitting on the couch eating my dinner while the two kids were at the table eating their dinner. And you said that is not a time to be there. Like you basically
Yep.
you weren't trying to shame me into it, but like you basically said that to me. And the moment that you said that, I felt instant guilt about what I was doing, and I left alive. You messaged me the back.
Good.
You messaged me the
I'm
next day. You're
proud of
like,
you.
I hope I didn't offend you, and I'm like, nope. I just realized that what I was doing was not helpful to my family, and
Yep.
that's what kind of stuck with me, is the fact that this is the type of person that you are, that you want to be in the moment and you want to be there and present. So even though we're on this app that makes you scroll every 5 seconds to keep moving, I feel like you're the type of person that is in the moment no matter what you're doing, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Oh, no problem. Um, I've done this a couple of times where my lives generally last an hour.
Hmm.
People want it longer, but I always believe leave them wanting more. That's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
Um, but imagine the surprise when you start talking about things like this and being real, being present in your own life.
Yep.
That's the important thing. Don't worry about the rest of the world. Be present in your own life for you,
Yep.
because that's what's important. Make memories today. So there's been a couple of times where I said, you know what? This isn't right. Y'all need to get out there and touch grass. And I'd end the live right there.
Yeah.
And it's been 5 minutes in, it's been 15 minutes in, it's been a half hour. And people are like, what the hell? Why'd you end it? Because you need to go out and touch grass. You need to be present in your own life.
Yeah.
And you did that. And I am so proud of you for doing so.
It'll stick with me forever, because every time I sit down to go do something and be like kind of like on my own, I'm like, oh no, this isn't the way that it's supposed to be. Like we've lost that. We've lost that human contact. Just like you said, touching grass makes so much sense. That's a great way to put it. It's like we are out of touch with what's going on in the world, and it's something
Yep.
that has happened. You know, you and I are both Gen X. I'm a little bit closer to millennial than Gen X, but I'm there, and it's like one of those things where we were touching grass all the time. We were out interacting. We were out riding our bikes. We were out doing those things. And I watched my 12-year-old who is on her phone that I didn't want to give her in the first place, but we felt necessary because everyone else has got one, you know, just
Right.
listening to
Right.
music, coloring, not talking to people. And it drives me crazy. So and so doesn't like me. So and so picked on me. So and so is a bully. And it's just like, man, when we were kids, and I said the wrong thing to her one day. I was like, you know, I feel like this is more of just teasing, and we're calling this bullying. And she's like, then she just
Right.
lays into me, and it's like, okay, she had an emotional reaction to this, so this really does bother her. But like when I had that emotional reaction when someone was doing that to me, it was like we got in a fight or something, you know, like we stopped it, like we
Yep.
fought back for ourselves, and we don't do that anymore. We just call it bullying, and we walk away, and it's really hard to understand that because that wasn't the way it was for us.
It's a learned skill that they don't teach anymore.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, but like I said, Matt, it's been great having you on here. I enjoy your
Thank you so
content.
much.
I enjoyed your barbecue sauce immensely, and I'm just excited for people to just get to know you and get to share your story here. And if anyone wants to find you, you said you're on social media, like almost all of them. Is it the same Toxic
Yep.
Pirate or where you at?
Oh no, I got different names on everything, and I'm not gonna tell what they are. If you want to find me, you can find me. I'm out there.
Yeah. Well, keep telling your story, keep sharing what's going on with you, and I'll make sure that I stay in the comments so that you don't forget who I am.
You know what? I appreciate that. That's important to me. Thank you very much. And I love doing this. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So we'll see you on the flip side.
Take care.
Yep. All right, everyone. Thanks again for hanging out with me and Matt. That was an awesome show. It was really good to get to talk to him, get to know him, and I hope that he shared some stuff with you that is very insightful and helps you move forward and find your success. We will see you next time.